Alright, r/I don't work here lady, settle in, cause your boy Ethan has a doozy for you. This one's got a sprinkle of sass, a whole heap of entitlement, and that sweet, sweet moment where someone realizes they've messed with the wrong customer. So picture this, I'm in Sephora. It's my happy place, okay? I'm a makeup enthusiast, not just a fan. I live for a good blend and a killer wing. I was on a mission hunting for a new eyeshadow palette, probably something with too much glitter as usual. I'm carefully swatching a few shades on my hand, minding my own business when this woman barrels up to me. We'll call her Mimi. Mimi, probably in her late 40s, decked out in what looked like head-to-toe designer or very convincing knockoffs, tapped me on the shoulder a little too sharply. "Excuse me," she said, not really asking. "I want to try that palette." She pointed a perfectly manicured finger at a pristine, unopened tester display of a very popular and often sold-out palette. Now I'm generally a polite guy, but her tone just rubbed me the wrong way. Plus, I was clearly a customer, basket in hand, with a constellation of shimmer already on my arm. So, a little devil popped onto my shoulder. I decided to play along just a smidge. "Oh, I'm so terribly sorry," I said, putting on my best retail voice, dripping with mock sincerity, "but we're actually not allowed to let anyone try those specific palettes. They're collector's items for display only." Very, very delicate. I might have wiggled my eyebrows a bit. Mimi did not appreciate my attempt at humor. Her face, which was already pretty tight, scrunched up even more. "What kind of ridiculous rule is that? Don't be absurd, I want to try it. Get your manager if you won't help me. I'll have you fired for this insubordination." I couldn't help it, a small chuckle escaped. "Fired, ma'am, with all due respect, I don't actually work here." "Well, that just fanned the flames. Don't you lie to me, young man. I saw you helping another customer earlier." Spoiler, she hadn't. I'd been laser focused on my glitter quest. She huffed, "I'm going to find your manager right now," and off she stomped, muttering about terrible service. I just shrugged and went back to looking at a different brand, figuring that was the end of it. Oh, how wrong I was. A few minutes later, Mimi was back, a harried-looking manager in tow. "He looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. This is him," Mimi shrieked, pointing at me like I'd just shoplifted the entire store. "He refused to let me sample the palette, was incredibly rude, and then lied about working here." The manager, bless his patient soul, glanced at me, then back at Mimi. "Ma'am," he said, his voice calm but firm, "this gentleman is in fact a customer. He doesn't work here." He gestured to my basket, overflowing with potential purchases. You could practically see the gears grinding in Mimi's head as she tried to process this. Her face went from furious to a weird shade of puce, then landed on embarrassed for about half a second. Then, believe it or not, she turned to me, completely ignoring the manager, and said, "Well, can you at least ask them if I can try it then, since you're already here?" I blinked, the audacity, but then I saw it, the last unit of that very palette she'd been demanding to test. It was sitting innocently on the shelf. An idea, a gloriously petty idea, sparked. With a polite smile, I reached out, picked up the coveted palette and said, "Actually, I think I'll just buy this one. It's exactly what I was looking for." I popped it into my basket. Mimi's jaw dropped. "You can't do that, I wanted that," she sputtered, her voice rising again. "Manager, he's doing this just to spite me. Make him give it to me." The manager, who was clearly done, stepped forward. "Ma'am, he's a customer, and he's entitled to purchase any item he wishes. We don't have testers for that specific palette available right now, as the display one is indeed just for show until we can get more testers in. Perhaps you'd like to look at something else." "This is outrageous, I'm never shopping here again," Mimi shrieked, causing a few other shoppers to turn and stare. She glared daggers at me, then at the manager, and finally stormed out of the store, still fuming. I waited a good 5 minutes, browsed a bit more, and then, once I was sure she was truly gone from the parking lot, I may have peeked. I went to the checkout. I bought my other goodies, and then I quietly asked the cashier if I could speak to the manager again. When he came over looking a bit wary, I pulled out the last palette. "Hey," I said, "I don't actually need this one. Well, you saw." I winked, figured I'd save you all a bit more trouble. "You can put it back on the shelf." The manager's face broke into a wide, relieved grin. "You, sir," he said, shaking his head with a laugh, "are a legend. Thank you, seriously. You have no idea how often we deal with that." An actual employee who'd witnessed the whole thing gave me a thumbs up from behind the counter. I just shrugged. "Hey, I get it. Retail's tough. Sometimes you gotta fight fire with, well, buying the last eyeshadow palette. We shared a laugh, I paid for my actual haul and left feeling pretty good. It's wild what some people think they're entitled to, and even wilder how they treat service workers. So yeah, sometimes it's fun to give them a little taste of their own medicine. I don't work here lady style. Stay sparkly, folks.
All right, settle in, folks. Kai here, and boy, do I have a doozy for you from my latest trip to one of those massive big box stores. You know the type, where you can buy a kayak and a week's groceries in the same trip. I was just trying to find a specific type of fancy cat food for my spoiled little overlord, pushing my cart, lost in thought about whether tuna or salmon pate would earn me more purrs. Suddenly snap, snap right by my ear. Loud, sharp, like someone was trying to summon a genie, or more likely a lowly retail worker. I'm not usually a jumpy guy, but it was so aggressive and out of nowhere that I flinched, nearly dropping my phone. I whipped around, ready to ask what their problem was, and there's this older guy, maybe late 50s, glaring at me. Before I could even open my mouth, he barks, "Oi, you, stop gawking and tell me where the damn birdseed is." I blinked, gawking, "I'm just trying to shop, man." He scoffed, looking me up and down like I was something he'd scraped off his shoe. "You lot are all the same, just standing around. Birdseed, aisle 7-8, spit it out." "Look," I said, trying to keep my voice even, "I don't actually work here. See, no uniform, no name tag." I gestured to my very civilian band t-shirt. He just sort of grunted, gave me another disdainful look, and then huffed off, muttering something about useless. Okay, weird, but whatever. I shook my head, took a breath, and went back to my cat food quest. Tuna it is. I'd made it maybe 2 aisles over, finally locating the feline delicacies, when I heard a new voice, this one dripping with a syrupy condescension that immediately set my teeth on edge. "Excuse me, sir." I turned, and there she was, the Karen, mid-40s, expensive-looking handbag that probably cost more than my rent, and a haircut that screamed, "I need to speak to your manager. Let's call her Brenda." "Can I help you?" I asked, still a bit rattled from the birdseed guy. Brenda's eyes narrowed, scanning me from head to toe. "Yes, you can. I've been waiting for ages. I need to know if you have those organic, gluten-free, artisanal dog biscuits in stock, the ones with the blueberries." I sighed internally. Here we go again. "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but I don't work here." Her perfectly plucked eyebrow arched. "Oh, really?" she said, her voice going up an octave. "Then what precisely are you doing loitering in the pet food aisle, looking like you're vaguely familiar with the products?" "I'm shopping," I offered, holding up my nearly empty cart. "For my cat, C." Brenda let out a sound that was halfway between a scoff and a snort. "Don't lie to me. I know your type. Too lazy to put on a uniform, probably just slacking off. Now, are you going to help me, or do I need to find someone who actually wants to do their job?" This was escalating fast. "Seriously, I don't work here," I repeated, trying to inject some finality into it. I started to turn away, hoping she'd just get the hint. "Big mistake." "How dare you walk away from me?" she shrieked, her voice suddenly much louder, drawing a few curious glances. "You think you're too good to help a paying customer? Is this how this store treats people? I spend thousands of dollars here." I stopped and faced her again, my own patience wearing thin. "Lady, for the third time, I don't work here. I'm a customer just like you. Now, if you'll excuse me." "You're a liar and a lazy bum," she screeched, her face turning an alarming shade of puce. "You probably can't even hold down a real job, can you? Floating from one gig to another, a drain on society." Okay, now I was getting angry. "You know absolutely nothing about me," I said, my voice low and tight. "And you're making a fool of yourself." That was like throwing gasoline on a fire. "A fool," she bellowed. "I'll show you a fool." And then, I kid you not, she lunged, hand raised to slap me. Instinct kicked in. I shot my hand up and blocked her arm just before it connected with my face. "Hey, what the hell, you can't just assault people." Her eyes were wild. "You worthless piece of trash, you probably deserved it." She tried to swing again with her other hand. I sidestepped and blocked that one too. "Back off, I'm defending myself, someone call security," I yelled, hoping an actual employee would notice the commotion. Just then, a young guy in the store's blue polo shirt, looking harried but competent, rushed over. "Ma'am, what's going on here? Is there a problem?" Brenda whirled on him. Yes, there's a problem. This cretin refuses to help me and then he assaulted me. She shrieked, pointing a trembling finger at me. The employee looked from her apoplectic face to my bewildered one. He assaulted you? He asked, looking at me. No way, I said. She tried to slap me twice because I told her I don't work here, I just blocked her. The employee gave me a quick understanding nod, then turned back to Brenda, his voice calm but firm. Ma'am, this gentleman doesn't work for us. He's a customer. Brenda's jaw dropped, then it snapped shut. Are you covering for him? You're all in on it, aren't you? This whole store is a sham. Her voice was cracking now. I demand to see your manager. I'm going to have all your jobs. You're all just lazy, incompetent. As she was mid-rant, her face contorting, two security guards, clearly alerted by the shouting or the employee, arrived. They were big guys, no-nonsense expressions. Ma'am, you need to calm down, one of them said, his voice a low rumble. Don't you tell me to calm down, she screamed, trying to push past him to get at me again. He's the one, he's a menace. The guards flanked her. Ma'am, we've had multiple complaints. You need to come with us. She struggled, still screaming a torrent of abuse at me, at the employee, at the guards. You'll regret this. I have connections. You're all fired, worthless, trash. She shrieked one last time as they escorted her, still flailing, towards the front of the store. I heard the police were called as they took her to the manager's office. The young employee who'd first intervened came back over, looking a bit shell-shocked. Dude, you okay? That was intense. She was a real piece of work. Yeah, I'm all right, I said, letting out a shaky breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. Thanks for stepping in. He grinned. No problem. Happens more than you'd think, but usually not that much. You sure you're okay? Want us to call anyone for you? Nah, I'm good. Just need to buy this cat food and get out of here. A little while later, as I was checking out, one of the security guards found me. The police had arrived, and Brenda was being formally trespassed and, due to the attempted assault, arrested. They asked if I wanted to press charges for the attempted assault. You bet I did. My adrenaline was still pumping, and the sheer audacity of her behavior, yeah, charges were definitely being pressed. As they were leading her out in handcuffs, still muttering darkly, a younger woman and a teenage boy looking utterly mortified approached me. Sir, the woman said, her voice quiet and trembling. That was our mother. We are so incredibly sorry. She has episodes. We've been trying to get her help. The boy just stared at his shoes, red-faced. I looked at them and a lot of my anger just deflated. They looked genuinely ashamed and exhausted. Look, I appreciate you saying that, I told them. It wasn't your fault. I hope she does get the help she needs. They thanked me, looking relieved I wasn't going to yell at them too, and then hurried off, presumably to deal with the fallout. I finally paid for my cat food. My cat was going to love this tuna after all the drama it caused, and walked out of the store. The sun was shining, the air was fresh, and honestly I felt this weird sense of vindication. It was a completely insane encounter, but I stood my ground, actual employees backed me up, and there were actual consequences for Brenda. As I got to my car, I pulled out my phone, half tempted to record a quick video for my friends. PSA, folks, I imagined saying, if you're going to lose your mind in public, make sure the person you're screaming at doesn't actually work there. And definitely don't try to slap them. You never know who you're messing with. But mostly I was just glad it was over, and that my cat was about to get some very well-earned drama-infused tuna. What a day.
This next story might destroy your faith in humanity, but first subscribe so we can keep making these videos.
So, picture this, it's a Saturday morning, the sun's barely up, and my husband Mark and I are braving the wilds of Wally World. You know how it is, that sacred weekend ritual. I was on a solo mission deep in the aisles hunting for that one specific brand of gluten-free crackers my kids suddenly decided is the only thing they'll eat. The usual. Mark was off doing his own recon when I heard it, this long, drawn-out, husky screech that just vibrated with entitlement. It was like a pterodactyl stubbing its toe. My internal alarm bells went off. Oh, here we go, I muttered to myself, already picturing the scene. Sure enough, my phone buzzed. Mark, babe, little help in aisle 7, got a live one. I hurried over, crackers forgotten, and found Mark looking utterly bewildered. He had that polite but panicked expression he gets when confronted by aggressive squirrels, except this was a woman, probably in her late 50s, with a hairdo that defied gravity and an expression that could curdle milk. She was jabbing a finger at him, voice raspy and loud. "And I need to know where the premium dog biscuits are, the ones with the organic chicken. Are you even listening to me?" she was squawking. Mark, bless his patient heart, was trying. "Ma'am, I really don't work here. I'm just trying to find some motor oil." See, he even gestured to his decidedly non-uniform t-shirt and jeans. She wasn't having it. "Don't you lie to me, you were standing right there looking at the shelves. That's what employees do." That's when I stepped in, trying for my best calm customer service voice, even though I'm an accountant. Go figure. "Excuse me, ma'am, is there a problem here?" Her head whipped around, eyes narrowing. "And who are you?" "His supervisor, because he's being incredibly unhelpful and unprofessional." She launched into a tirade about how her time was valuable and how Wallyworld's standards had clearly plummeted. "Actually," I said, keeping my voice even, "he's my husband, and neither of us work here. He was probably just trying to figure out where your dog biscuits might be, to be polite." "Well, you don't work here either then, do you?" she snapped, puffing up. "Then go find me a manager, someone competent." "Okay, patience officially thinning." "Lady," I said, a bit sharper now, "we're not the ones causing a scene in the middle of Wallyworld. We're just trying to shop." Then she looked me up and down, a nasty little smirk playing on her lips. "Well, clearly you don't work anywhere looking like that, probably just mooching off him." Whoa, okay, now I was mad. I bust my butt 50 hours a week at my job, and this woman who looked like she hadn't seen a day of hard work since the Reagan administration was judging me. Oh, hell no. Before I could retort, she glanced back at Mark, who was trying to subtly signal for an actual employee. "At least he's handsome," she purred, giving him this weird, leering once-over. "Shame he's stuck with, well, you." That was it. The dam broke. I'm not normally a jealous person, I swear, but the combination of insulting my work ethic, my appearance, and hitting on my husband in the most skeevy way possible. Nope. "Listen, you peroxide pickled prune," I started, and I admit I'm not proud of the string of rather creative, if somewhat colorful, observations that followed about her personality, her choice of hairspray, and her general approach to human interaction. Mark's eyes went wide, but honestly he looked a little impressed too. The woman's jaw dropped, her face went from puce to a sort of blotchy white, then her lips started to tremble, and then came the waterworks. Full-on crocodile tears complete with hiccuping sobs. You can't talk to me like that," she wailed, loud enough to draw a small crowd. Just then, a real Wallyworld employee, a young guy with a name tag that said Kevin and the weary eyes of a seasoned veteran, finally materialized. "What's going on here?" he asked, his voice tired. Karen immediately pointed a shaky finger at me. She insulted me. She was horrible." I took a deep breath. "Kevin," I said, "I apologize for losing my temper, and I'm sorry you have to deal with this. But this lady cornered my husband, refused to believe he didn't work here, insulted my appearance, my job, and then made a pass at him." Suddenly, a couple of other shoppers chimed in. "Yeah, we saw the whole thing," one lady said. "That woman was way out of line." "They were just trying to shop," another guy nodded. "She was yelling at the poor fella before his wife even got here." Kevin looked from Karen, still sniffling dramatically, to us, then to the other witnesses. He sighed, a deep, soul-weary sound. "Ma'am," he said to Karen, "why don't you come with me to the service desk and we can discuss this further?" To us, he just nodded. "You folks are free to go, sorry about this." He gently started to steer Karen away, who was now muttering about disrespectful youths and calling corporate. We grabbed our now less elusive crackers, a few extra stress-induced chocolate bars, paid, and got out of there. Walking to the car, Mark squeezed my hand. "My hero," he grinned, though peroxide pickled prune was a new one. I couldn't help but laugh, feeling a weird mix of shaken and weirdly triumphant. "So yeah, the moral is stand up for yourself and your loved ones, And maybe, just maybe, consider grocery delivery on Saturday mornings. Wally World is a jungle.
Feel like keeping it going? Here's a solid pick.